What's up, guys? I want to go over real quick how to add alcohol to your macro sheets so that you can stay on track and keep drinking. I know it's kind of a convoluted process, so I figured if I went through it on the screen, you guys could follow along. It's going to make it a lot more clear. So, let's say I'm going out this evening and I plan on drinking red wine. Okay. Now, the thing is, it's better to do this ahead of time, just like anything else when you're planning, so that you don't go over your numbers. The other thing that you're gonna have to keep in mind is you're gonna have to know exactly how much you're drinking. When I when I go out and drink, if I'm going to a bar and I want a mixed drink, as an example, I will actually have them pour me a shot, and then I'll get the mixer on the side so I can pour it in myself, so I know exactly how much I'm getting. Um, I really will avoid any sort of like crazy mixed drinks and stuff like that because you just don't really know how much is going in there. Most bartenders do stuff by eye, so it's not a great way to be planning considering how many calories are in, shots of alcohol. If you're doing wine, you just need to be very careful and clear with the bartender that, hey, I want this many ounces of wine, and if you can get that like in a carafe or something, um, rather than just pouring from the bottle or just straight in the glass, that's going to be a lot better than just trying to eyeball it yourself. There's just really no way to do that accurately. So, given that, let's say I'm planning on having Cabernet Sauvignon. I'm going to have 8 ounces of it, okay? I would search for Cabernet. And then now, if you do this on the phone, there will be a little check mark, a green check mark next to entries that are verified by MyFitnessPal. Those are the ones you're going to want to prefer because it means that it's for sure correct. Now, if you're doing it on the website, that doesn't have that for whatever reason. So what I like to do is I like to click on some entries and look to see how many users confirmed that this is accurate. Now, Yellowtail has 19 confirmed users. That's a lot. So this would probably be pretty accurate. Okay. So you're not actually going to add this entry to MyFitnessPal. That's the key. The reason is, look at this. So here's 6 ounce serving of Cabernet, right? If we look, it says it has 120 calories. That's true, but since we're only tracking macros and we're not tracking calories, if we don't substitute this calorie load to something that's 100% carbs or fat, then what this is taking into account is the fact that alcohol has 7 calories per gram, right? But we don't track alcohol as a macro, so we're missing out on that. If you look, this only says it has 4 grams of carbs. Well, there's 4 calories in a gram of carbs, so 4 times 4 is 16 calories. That means that we're missing 104 calories that go unaccounted for. So we're not going to do that. We're going to figure out exactly how many calories we're drinking, and then we're going to convert that 100% into either carbs or fat. And that way we know, hey, I'm accounting for all these calories, okay? So it's actually a two-step process instead of a one-step. So if I was having 8 ounces instead of 6 ounces, I'm going to go to the single ounce serving size, and I'm going to change this to 8. Now that comes out to 160. So I'm going to take that, I'm not going to enter this in, okay? I'm just going to take that number there, 160 calories, and then I'm going to search for Ballinger Athletic. And I'm going to use carbohydrates in this example. Now you'll notice, see, I've got entries on here that you can either use as carbs or as fat. So it depends on what you want. If you have barely any fats in your diet and you like eating fats and today you want to have something fatty, then you're going to want to substitute the alcohol as carbohydrates. If on the other hand you prefer to take from your fats and you don't mind having fewer fats for the day and you want to keep your carbohydrates high, then you might want to opt to do it as fats. It's going to be a personal preference and it really makes absolutely no difference as long as you pick one. Today I'm going to pick carbs. Now, we had determined in the last step that there was 160 calories worth of alcohol that we needed to account for, right? So, since 1 gram of carbohydrates has 4 calories, we need to do a little bit of math. 160 total calories from the alcohol. I'm going to divide that by 4 because there's 4 calories in a gram of carbohydrates. That gives us 40 grams of carbs. So if I had 40 grams of carbohydrates, that would equal 160 calories, which is equal to this alcohol. So I'm going to enter that in here. Since each of these servings, as I've put it out, is 1 gram, we just put 40. Okay, so now if I add that to my food diary, boom, 160 calories right there. It shows it so you can know at a later date what was that 160 calories accounting for in case you forget. That's alcohol. There you go. It's that simple. Now to do the same thing for, I'll just do the fats real quick too. Why not? So if we were doing it as fats, it's not going to be 40 this time, right? We're going to do 160 divided by 9 because there's 9 calories per gram of fats. Always round up, so this is going to be 18 grams. So we'll put 18 servings. And again, it's a little bit higher, but it's close enough. So 162 calories if we were doing it as fats, okay? So there you go. So now if I was eating for the rest of the day, if I was doing 40 grams of carbs as my alcohol, I would just eat, let's say I was targeting 180 grams of carbs a day, I would only eat 140 grams of carbohydrates because 40 of them would have already been taken up by the alcohol. On the other hand, if I was doing fats, let's say I was having 50 grams of fat a day, I'd only eat 32 grams of fat because the other 18 would be taken up by the fats. It's that simple, guys. So if you use this method of doing this, you can drink alcohol multiple times a week even and stay on track. Do I recommend drinking every night? No, and here's the reason. Alcohol is not going to be as efficient for giving you energy as carbohydrates are, and it's not going to give you the same benefits that fats are. So there is somewhat of an empty calorie consumption going on. But again, like with all flexible dieting, if it's a moderated thing and you're only doing it a little, a little here and there, it's not going to be a huge deal. But what we want to avoid is just uncontrolled, untracked drinking. So as you can see, I mean, 40 grams of carbohydrates for 8 ounces of wine, that's really going to prevent us, unless you're on a huge bulk and you're eating 400 grams of carbs a day, you're really going to have a very low limit to the amount of alcohol you could drink and still stay on track, right? So just make sure you're entering this stuff in beforehand. If you do that and you're measuring well, you have nothing to worry about. You can drink, and then the next morning you can wake up and be confident that you're still on track. Okay, I hope this helps you guys out and that you learned something from here. Any questions, let me know.